With San Francisco's second-year cornerback and Renardo Green sustaining a hamstring injury that saw him sidelined today, it came as little surprise the 49ers went out and signed one of the better cornerbacks on the market in Eli Apple. The former first-round pick has pretty prototypical size, coming in at 6'1", weighing 200 pounds and running his 40-yard dash in a blistering fast 4.4 seconds. On top of that, last year, he was one of the better cornerbacks. According to PFF, for instance, he earned an overall grade of 78, which ranked 15th among all cornerbacks. And while he didn't play in a ton of snaps last year, the previous year with Miami Dolphins, he played in over 500 and was a constant force in their secondary. And now entering San Francisco, I think he has a lot of skills that will make him extremely successful in Robert Saleh's defense. One thing Saleh requires out of his corners, for instance, is to be extremely efficient in man coverage, as often he likes to bring exotic blitzes, which does put a little bit more stress on his DBs. But luckily for Saleh, now he has a true lockdown cornerback on the outside, and one of the skills I absolutely love is his press man coverage. Here going against the Giants, for instance, Apple will be pulling out a one-handed press technique, and he does an excellent job of using the hand closest to the quarterback, which helps him flip his hips and follow this wide receiver up the field. Then with the ball in there, Apple is always attacking it, and on this play, he is able to register the PBU, and I love this aspect of Apple's game. In a similar way on this play, Apple once again is in press man coverage. But rather than using a one-handed press technique or a two-handed press technique, he's going to use a no-contacted press technique, and on this play, you can really see what makes Apple such a special athlete. You can see how he responds to this wide receiver, breaking hard one direction, hard the other direction. He breaks on the ball and breaks it up once again. Apple has a chance to be phenomenal in San Francisco's defense. Another part of Apple's man coverage I think that's pretty underappreciated is how quickly he can recognize a wide receiver's route. Here going against the Ravens, for instance, almost instantly he knows this is going to be a curl route, so he sits in the wide receiver's hip pocket and then once again that breaks up the pass. Another thing about Eli Apple that makes him extremely valuable in Robert Saleh's defense is the ability to play the slot. Here, for instance, manned up on AJ Brown, once again, he does a phenomenal job of actually identifying this route. With this little stutter step, instantly he's able to identify the in pattern, breaks on it hard, and is able to break up this pass. Eli Apple's skill in this aspect of his game is something I love. I love his aggression. Speaking about Eli Apple's aggression, it's not just when the ball's in there, it's also the people who are running the ball or catching the ball. Here, for instance, with the Patriots running a little wide receiver screen, once again, Apple almost instantly identifies it, then he shoots without hesitation and absolutely demolishes this wide receiver. So headed to San Francisco, he's going to fit right in with a secondary that includes players like Deommodore Lenoir, Malik Mustafa, and Renardo Green. Perhaps my favorite part about his man coverage though is his ability to go make plays on the ball. Here going against the Bills, for instance, I love first his ability to disrupt this wide receiver at the top of the route, then he starts reading Josh Allen's eyes, and then with Josh Allen targeting this wide receiver, he breaks on it and gets the interception. Another part of Eli Apple's game I absolutely love is his ability to cover wide receivers deep down the field. Here going against the Jets, for instance, he does an excellent job of disrupting this wide receiver early on in his route, then he stays glued to his hip pocket, and once again, look how he's reading Zach Wilson on his play. You can see him throwing to him, and then breaks on this ball and gets the PBU. In a similar way on this play, I love his ability in man coverage. He makes this wide receiver force his way into his space on this little curl route, and then breaks on it. Maybe as equally as important as Eli Apple being right on reading these routes, when he is wrong, he has athleticism necessary to recover. Here going against the Patriots, for instance, Apple thinks this wide receiver is breaking in hard, so he jumps this route, but he's wrong. But thanks to his athleticism, he's able to flip his hips, get back on this wide receiver, and even breaks up the pass. Pretty incredible play. Equally as important as his man coverage is his ability in zone coverage, and Eli Apple is also pretty phenomenal here. He does a great job of reading the quarterback's eyes, like we've already seen in man coverage, and then breaking on the route. Here going against the Eagles, for instance, He's responsible for the deep quarter of this field, and with this wide receiver running a comeback hard, he sees Jalen Hurts trying to target him, and then because of his hit, he's able to break up the pass on this play. And I absolutely love the ferocity he plays with. Here going against the Giants, for instance, once again, he's in man coverage. And not only does he shut down his man in the scramble drill, stays glued to his hip pocket, when Daniel Jones finally does decide to break outside, he doesn't fall for his wide receiver breaking up the field and breaks hard onto Daniel Jones and ultimately delivers a nice blow and gets a sack on the play, making Daniel Jones think twice about running it on his defense once again. Now moving back to Apple's zone coverage, another aspect I love is when he isn't able to break up the pass, he does an excellent job of flowing to the ball carrier. Here for instance, he reads this tight end, breaking back to the quarterback, and then he responds almost instantly and makes an excellent open field tackle. The final aspect of Eli Apple's coverage I want to talk about is his communication. Here, as a veteran, you can see how he's communicating with the other aspects of his defense before, once again, making a pretty solid tackle. Outside of Apple's coverage ability, equally as important for San Francisco and him entering Robert Saleh's defense is his ability as a run defender. And honestly, I think he's a great fit. One thing he does an excellent job of in the running game, for instance, is setting the edge and making sure no one gets the outside on him. Here, for instance, going against the Ravens, he reads his running back bouncing on the outside and then helps bring him down, stopping this touchdown. I also love how routinely you'll see Apple be disciplined in the run game. Here, for instance, he's reading this back and doesn't immediately shoot inwards when this back does. Rather, he keeps outside contained and makes a solid open field tackle. For me, I love a corner with this ability, and Apple does fit in like I was talking about earlier with players like Renardo Green and Deommodore Lenoir who also possess this ability. The final thing I really like about Eli Apple and his run defense is how smart of a player he is. Here with the Chargers running a jet sweep, for instance, quickly he's able to identify it, shoots it without hesitation, gets by this wide receiver's block, and then brings him down for a pretty minimal gain. With all these positives being mentioned about Apple though, now we need to go into his negatives. The first being his time he missed last year. He sustained a hamstring injury that saw him sidelined for the majority of the year, and he isn't getting any younger. Another part of Apple's game that's sometimes a strength and other times a weakness is his aggression. Sometimes he'll shoot too hard on the back, miss the tackle, or jump on a wide receiver's route and not be able to recover. Still though, even with these concerns, the former first round pick and top 10 pick at that has plenty of potential for San Francisco's defense, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him enter San Francisco's defense, compete for a starting job, and maybe have one of his better seasons. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts on San Francisco signing Eli Apple, and now I want to hear your thoughts about them signing the former first round cornerback. It would also mean a ton to me if you did enjoy this video to go ahead and like and subscribe. It truly helps out the channel a ton, and as always, I hope you have a great rest of your day.